Hi everyone, Donut here. Don't worry, this is not a 19-minute video of me and my friends getting hammered at the beach. We're going to talk about a shooting today and do a shooting breakdown. I chose this shooting breakdown because a lot of you are sending me messages about it, saying you're seeing people on Twitter and all over the internet saying they should arrest the officers who were involved in this. Well, I'll let you make that decision after watching my breakdown. Let's head over to the cesspool of the internet, Twitter. Arrest and charge the cops who killed Jamee Johnson. Arrest the officers involved in the Jamee Johnson murder. Meet Jamee Johnson. He was killed by a policeman in Duval. Help his family get justice by demanding that State Attorney Melissa Nelson open this case as an unjustifiable murder. Possession of cannabis and seatbelt violations should not be capital offenses. It takes an extra type of evil for someone to watch the body cam of Officer Josue Garriga execute Jamee Johnson and say it was justified. Make traffic police separate from all other police like in most countries. Most shootings happen at traffic stops. No one is going to shoot a traffic police officer if they know it. At most, they will get a ticket. They will be safe without a weapon. Well, I can't handle Twitter anymore. Let's move on to breaking down the shooting of Jamee Johnson by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department. It's a pretty basic traffic stop. Officer 1 pulls Jamie over for having a seatbelt violation.
How you doing, sir?
21st and Buckman, Mike 3
Alright, so you didn't have a seatbelt on. I know you probably put it on later, but you didn't have a seatbelt on when you came out onto that road over there. Drop my phone. I was picking it up. That's fine. No biggie. Sorry about that. Not a problem, man. You got your ID on you, man?
As the officer is talking to Jamie, he notices that he's moving around and acting kind of nervous.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Why are you so nervous,
Alright,
man?
was 1054 and 28, correct?
Oh, no, I'm just scared of police. I haven't been pulled over in Jacksonville the whole time I lived here, so this yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, you don't have to be that nervous, man. So you got anything in the car or anything like that crazy? Because, I mean, I can tell you that you, just by your mannerisms, you know, you're doing a lot of wild stuff that you weren't even, you know, what I mean by wild, I mean, and here's what I mean, is that you're doing a bunch of movements that make no sense to what I want you to do, which is just find your ID. You know what I'm saying? You keep reaching and moving. So what you looking for, man? I was looking for the registration. I don't need your registration. No. So, do you have anything in the car at all?
The officer asks him, hey man, you got anything in the car we should know about? He says, I do have a gun. It's sitting over there in my jacket. The jacket is on the passenger floorboard at the moment. The officer, to get him away from the gun and to investigate a little bit more, steps outside of the car and then realizes the car smells like marijuana.
Your jacket? All right, hop on that for me. The seat is right there. That's fine. I'll get it just a second. Turn that way for me. No problem. There you go. That way. You got anything else in the car, though? I see, like, weed flakes flaking off of you. No, sir. We just got to roll in the blunt? No, sir. Okay. Why do you smell like what you smell? Actually smoking hemp. Okay. Smoking hemp? Yes, sir. Okay. You got anything else in your car at all? No, sir. Nothing illegal? No, sir. You sure? Yes, sir. Okay. Mind if we search your vehicle? No, sir. You don't mind? I do mind. There's nothing illegal to search my vehicle, sir. I have my legal firearm. That's about it. Okay. That's fine. Well, given the fact that you... stay still. I'm sorry about that. Given the fact that you had marijuana flakes come off your shirt the way they are, okay, that's a no-no. You don't have a marijuana card, do you? No, sir. Okay. But I know that hemp is illegal in the state of Florida, sir. But that wasn't hemp that you had flaking off of you? It was, sir. Okay, well, that's fine. So you sure you have nothing else in the car at all? No, sir. Okay, what kind of firearm do you have in your car? A Glock 26. Where is it at? In my jacket, located right there inside of the jacket. Okay. You have a concealed weapon permit? No, sir. It's in the jacket, concealed. Well, it's in the jacket. And according to law, doesn't it have to be? I know it has to be put away when it's inside of the vehicle, and it's away inside of my jacket, inside of the vehicle. So is it an holster? It's inside of the jacket. No, so that means jacket's away. Nope. So what it means is that in the state of Florida, it needs to be either in a glove compartment locked away in a holster, or it needs to be in another locked compartment inside of a holster, legally, to be able to possess it legally in a vehicle. Unless you have a concealed weapons permit, then you can carry it the way you want to. Reason being the concealed weapons. Okay. All right. So by you carrying a firearm in a legal fashion, you know what I mean? It's not good. So I'll get the paperwork for your firearm. Okay. Grab my phone? Yeah, you can grab it. All right. So let me get the paperwork so I can see if your serial number's on there, ring your serial number, all that kind of stuff. Put you in the backseat of my car. Okay. So you don't skedaddle on me. Sound good? Yes, sir. All right. Come on. Can I walk by myself, please, sir? No. I'll hold on to you. I got my ID. Nope. Leave right there.
He says, I do have a firearm, but it's purchased legally. The officer says, well, you don't have a concealed carry permit, so it can't just be sitting in the seat beside you. With the seatbelt violation being the reasonable suspicion to pull him over, combined with him being jittery, combined with smelling marijuana, combined with him having a gun out in an illegal manner, the officer decides he's going to sit him in his car while he figures out what's going on. Officer 2 shows up on scene shortly after, and you see most of this through Officer 2's body camera. Officer 1 turns him around and starts to walk him to the car, and that's when the suspect, Jamee Johnson, starts to fight them. We don't see very much after this part because as soon as they start fighting officer number 1, the initial officer on scene, his body camera falls off. Fortunately, the metal fence post right here didn't catch the officer's legs. They came to an abrupt stop in someone's yard right beside a house. Mind you, they were still in a car wrestling over a gun. Officer 2 runs around the passenger side to open the door and try and help, but it's locked, so he tries to Superman the window. He realizes he's probably not going to get through the window with his bare fist. He starts running around behind the car, and that's when officer number 1 fires 4 times.
Where did you just hear now?
4 shots the officer fired hit Jamie in the left side of his chest, the left side of his back, his right elbow, and his right hip. The shot to the chest actually caused Johnson's death a couple of minutes later. According to the state attorney's office, in our opinion, given the totality of the circumstances, Officer Garriga reasonably feared that his life was in danger. In his written statement, Officer Garriga described an intense struggle over his firearm. During the struggle, Johnson crashed his car through a fence, dragging Officer Garriga along with him. After the crash, Johnson continued to place Officer Garriga's life in danger as he lifted the gun towards the officer's face. Even still, Officer Garriga did not immediately resort to deadly force. Instead, the officer instinctively concealed his face as Johnson lifted the gun closer. The officer was able to push himself out of the car, but Johnson moved his body towards Officer Garriga. Believing Johnson was armed, Officer Garriga shot Johnson. While the officer's description is the only testimonial evidence that Johnson successfully grabbed the gun, a meticulous review of the body-worn camera footage corroborates even this detail. During the early moments of the stop, the gun was completely concealed in his jacket, which was visibly located on the floorboard of the passenger seat. Additional body camera footage establishes that immediately after the shooting, the gun, which was now visible, had been moved from its original location on the floorboard onto the passenger seat and center console of the car. So basically what it's saying is, without a doubt, Johnson had his hand on that gun. After pushing an officer so hard it dislodged his body camera, then jumping into a car trying to grab his gun, and then dragging an officer in said car. That's why the state attorney's office said that this was a justified shoot. Here's a still shot from Officer 1's body-worn camera before it got knocked off, where you can see the jacket is not in the seat. And here's a still frame from after the shoot, where you can clearly see the gun in the center console underneath the jacket, with the handle facing the direction that Jamie was in. So why was he trying to run, grab his gun, do all this crazy stuff after the officer was professional and courteous? According to the state attorney's report, he had a bunch of weed in the car, which by any means, that doesn't mean you should be executed. You know, I think it should be legal everywhere for whatever you want to do with it. But you get shot if you fight with a police officer, you jump into a car, drag the police officer, try to get your weapon and put it in the officer's face. He didn't get shot because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He didn't get shot because he had a gun in the car, and he didn't get shot because he had a bunch of weed in the car also. He got shot because of the decisions he made that day. So let me know what you think about this shooting in the comments below. I'm going to be over at twitch.tv/donutoperator. As soon as this video is released, we're probably going to play some Tarkov Hangout. I got a Patreon. I got a merch store with Bunker if you want to help support the channel. As always, please have a fantastic day.
Whacker.